GS is up to over 13,000 now. Still no problem, still no issues. I was watching a YouTube, let's see, this video is from England, and the guy loved the bike, but he did have some complaints that he thought were annoying. One of them was the blinkers, turn signals. When he turns them on and makes a lane change, they don't stay on long enough, they go off too quickly or something like that. But he wasn't very happy with that, but overall he did love the bike. So just like little things bothered him. I don't think what else it was. I know the signals were a big deal with it, but he loved the ride. He says he was blown away by the comfort and the handling and all that. So it's interesting what people would, different views, and what the expectations of a motorcycle are when the particular models that are out there. And my expectations of this bike were, I wasn't crazy about the looks, I would say that all the time, but the ride, the comfort, the handling, just its function was just great. And oh yeah, that was, what was I saying? Oh yeah, maybe the same guy was saying this. He was comparing it to a Swiss Army knife. Well, no, it might have been a different individual. He was comparing it to a Swiss Army knife. That the bike is a Swiss Army knife, the GS350. I mean, GS1250 here, and but it's a Swiss Army knife with all the implements outside, because of the way it looks. And it wasn't him, it must have been somebody else. But I thought that was funny. He says it does it all, but it's really not an attractive bike, which, it's subjective and it's fine. I've grown to love the bike and the style and everything. So everything is subjective. But then he calls the Multistrada the Swiss Army knife, but with all the implements, back in the knife, all closed up. And I thought that was a good way, not a good way, but I thought it was an interesting way of describing the difference between the Multistrada and the GS. Now, I think the Multistrada is a great looking bike. It's fast, it does everything. I heard it rides really well. And same with the Super Duke, or not the Super Duke, the KTM 1290 Adventure. I heard they're great bikes. But what would stop me from buying, if I didn't test ride this bike, I probably could have seen myself buying one of them, because I was interested in the Multistrada before they came out with the 4V. But after riding this bike for a while, and especially the brakes, I can go hot into a turn, and if I feel I need to hit the brakes, I can yank on that brake lever, and it straightens the bike right up. Even in a hot curve, it can still straighten the bike up. And I'm not saying the others won't do that, but what I liked about this bike was when I did hit the brakes, I didn't get the nosedive, and that was extremely impressive. Where with the Multistrada and the KTMs, you do get that. Now I think the Multistrada has a anti-dive mode or something like that, but it's still going to dive because of the travel, whatever it is. It's 8 inches, and that's what I like about this bike. This telelever suspension is just amazing. I think I said this before. I think one other company, I think the Goldwing has it too, but I mean, it's really sold me on this bike, and I couldn't see myself buying another adventure type bike. Just even though it has more power, except this one with the suspension. This suspension setup is just, to me, is just superior for the average rider, or even the experienced rider. But I know I was watching another video, as I always do, that the test rider was saying that he loved the GS, but for track use, which how many people use these on the track, but for track use he would rather have really sporty turns or twisties and stuff like that, he would rather have the Multistrada, because with the nosedive you can put a lot of force on the front tire, giving it more grip, and that makes total sense to me, but you're talking about splitting hairs here as far as for the average Joe. I mean, the experienced rider, of course, he's going to of course, he's going to know. He's going to know how to I'm sorry, guys. He's going to know how to get the most out of a bike, and he wants, what he's used to riding. And this is a really good test rider. I forget the guy's name, and he does great. He's got a good way of talking and everything. He's a European guy, but he does really good reviews. And that's what he was saying, and I could totally understand that. But for the average guy like me, I'd rather have this bike because I'm never going to push it that hard because I don't have the skill level to do that. And so I'm thinking that this bike is just, it's basically, those bikes are deal breakers because of this suspension has just absolutely just blown me away, and it's jaded me into thinking that there's no other bike that's gonna, a venture bike is gonna be like this. So I wouldn't even consider the other bike, even if it's faster. I know the Multistrada, the VS4, they've just, I'm a quarter mile guy, I'm a drag guy, and they're running like mid-10s, mid to low, I think mid-10s, 1050s, like almost 130 in the quarter mile. That's pretty fast. I mean, that's a fast vehicle on the street. I know the new Mustang GT500 can do like 1060s, 1070s, that's extremely fast for a car, but that's a fast bike. And the GS is only good for low 11s, which you say only. I mean, it does 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds, which, that's supercar territory. But that wouldn't sway me. Say with the KTM. The KTM's also a 10-second motorcycle, and although I do like power, and I feel like, when I get to 100, it starts to run out of the steam. That, I mean, it's going, it's fast. I mean, don't take that. It's a fast bike. This bike is fast, the GS. But I'm so used to it now that, it'd be nice to have a little bit more snot upstairs. But I'm definitely okay with it. I know I can't control the power downstairs, so I go full throttle. From a dead start in first gear, it's hard to control without it, the wheel coming up. Even if you have wheelie control on it, it's too abrupt on the GS. I guess that's a fault. I think the Ducatis can manage it better, and it just cuts the power too quickly. And maybe it's a good thing, but you just don't get the acceleration you want. So you got to feather the throttle in first, and then you can just keep it, totally cranked in the rest of the gears. But I know that, and I said Ducati tends to, they have buddies, I know I'm jumping around a little bit, but my buddy's Diablo, you could set it, I don't know what setting you had it on, but it was just so nice. The wheelie control was so nice. I mean, you could just roll into the throttle. It just stands up, but not high, and maybe 2-3 feet in the air, and it just settles right down, even in full throttle. So it's just like a race car. It's a nice way to control the wheelie. But like I said, all of a sudden saying all this shit and everything about what would sway me, but because I love power, I wouldn't do it. So the next adventure bike I get for my long, if I'm sure I'm going to get another one, when this is time to trade this in, is going to be a BMW. Just no ifs, ands, or buts. That'll be my next purchase. Now, you watching videos like I do, it doesn't seem like it means a lot to some people. They'd rather have the Italian bike. They'd rather have the craziness of a KTM and a Multistrada with the insane acceleration, and they just rather have that. And I don't know, maybe they like the sound of the engine better, and because the Multistrada does sound really good. And so I understand that, but to me, the suspension just overrides all of that. And and obviously the other features and stuff like that. But it definitely overrides. The suspension is absolutely it's what convinced me to get this bike. Just one test ride, I was just blown away. So I'm curious what other people think about the GS. Is there? I mean, I guess it's something good to talk about after I just started rattling around about the suspension. Does the suspension on this bike? Is this the absolute game changer? What makes this the best adventure bike? Overall adventure bike. I'm not saying that it's the best off-road or the best on-road, but does the telelever suspension make the GS the unique and the best possible adventure bike? I don't know. I think it does. I mean, I haven't ridden on a KTM or a Multistrada, but the ride is so comfortable, and even in road mode, which is the comfort mode, it's still sporty. Sometimes I get sporty, I forget to put it in dynamic mode, and it's fine. So either I'm not pushing it hard, or it's just, I don't know. I don't know. But I'd just like to know. I mean, I know the guys that are watching this, or they love the BMW, and they're probably going to agree with me, but it'd be nice if somebody that didn't agree with me and said, no, the suspension is not that good, it's overrated, which I don't believe it's overrated at all. I think that's where the GS has, the BMW has the edge on the other adventure bikes, is this suspension. That's just, that's my opinion. I just think the suspension is, and also the chassis dynamics, the way the suspension, what the suspension gives to the chassis, I just think it's just phenomenal. I just like I said, I'm just blown away. I would love to see what this type of suspension would be on a standard bike, on a naked bike. Say like they have the what is it, the RT? No, not the RT. What's the RS? There you go. The RS, the 1250 RS. It has just standard suspension up front. It does have the drive shaft, but it has the standard forks up front. Now I don't know if you could put that on a standard bike. Maybe you need more travel, or you don't have enough room, or whatever. But I would just love to see it, because it's the standard bike I probably would get. Although when I get a standard bike or a naked bike, I want it to be no more than 450 pounds. That's just my cutoff. I really want to get a 400-pound bike. That's why I like the Ducati, the Monster, or even the 890 Duke. I was just looking at the 890 Duke. That's pretty cool too. But how cool it would be to have that type of suspension. Like I said, I don't know if they could do it or not. So guys, that's what I'm talking about. Does that make this unique because of the suspension, or is this just overhyped? It's not that big of a deal. To me, it's a huge deal. When you slam the brakes on and the nose doesn't dive in an emergency situation, I just think you have better control, and you have better control because your body's not being like, I mean, all right, yes, you're being thrown forward, but you got the handlebars to hold you, but you're not being kind of lifted up, where when you nosedive that thing, it kind of it's unsettling to me anyway. So yeah, and so that's my take on the GS as far as the suspension is concerned, and I get kind of a good subject to talk about because most people tune in. They're tuning in about the GS. They ain't tuning in for me. Well, I should take that back. There are a few gentlemen that tune in just to listen to my ranting and raving, which I am trying to cut back on, which I haven't done in a while, and I don't really, when I rant and rave, it just kind of gets me all, you don't see it in the video, but it gets me all riled up, and it's not worth it. It's not really worth it, What's worth it is just having a good time riding, talking about the bikes you like, and that's what to me is more meaningful, and just and then the places you go. Obviously, the places you go are really cool. I mean, I'm going kind of the same place. I try to go to different places and show you different videos. And as you can see, a lot of the area around here, even though it's getting built up like crazy, is farmland, and open spaces. But like right to the right of me is an apartment complex or condos, and there must be 200 people, 200 easily in there, and so it's fairly close to the, I guess, shopping, but it's kind of a mix. It's really weird. It's a mix of a rural and farmland and condos. Yeah, so I take this normally to go to the hardware store. It's kind of a nice run. Like I said, it's 54 degrees. If the sun was out, it would be absolutely beautiful, but the sun's not, so you feel a little bit of a chill. I kind of got my summer jacket. I would call this my summer jacket, but I call it my fall because I put the lining in, and then I got my wind stopper like a thermal. I think I've discussed that before. So then I put the heated gloves are on. I mean, the heated grips are on. I don't have heated gloves. I don't really think I need them with a bike like this. People say your knuckles and stuff get cold, but I don't find the outside of my fingers that bother me. It's my tips of my fingers and my, and the palms, mostly the tips that you really get, you really sort of feel the numbness, I just like this little turn here. It's nice. Well, then it ends right about now. Oh, one more, sorry about that. Yeah, more construction over here. Not much of a turn, no. It says now hiring. Nobody wants to work, but they say now hiring. So, yeah, so that's it. So that's, talking about, the trip and everything. But I like talking about the GS more. And so, you know, the only issues, like I said, I'm not having any issues with it. I always say the only issues. I said I just finished cleaning the bike, and the wheels are just a pain in the ass. If I had it, I mean, I love the combination with the gold wheels and a little bit of the gold trim. I think it looks really great. But if I had to do it all over again, I would rather have the aluminum wheels, not spokes, because I don't take it off road. And I just think that, and black obviously, because then they don't show the dirt as much, and I think they'd be easier to clean, obviously. So I think I've mentioned that before. Anybody, you guys out there want to trade for the gold to the whatchamacallit, I'm up for it. I'll definitely trade you. You can, you know, I put brand new tires on that. So that would be a good swap for anybody, but I'm just kidding. I probably wouldn't do that. It's worth cleaning them because it looks so good. But I remember when they were brand new, they were just like, wow. And now they kind of oxidize a little bit. They still look good, but they're not like when they were new. So that's my little annoyance, I guess. But it's no big deal. I can't see the wheels when I'm riding, you know. So, but I am loving the GS every day. I think about it, you know, I might want to trade for something else, but when I get on it, I don't want to trade. You know, it's just my problem is I got, a GTR, nice, and it's orange. I hope you guys can pick that up. I love GTRs. That's a Nissan. That's a nickname, Godzilla. That thing is a beast. It's all-wheel drive, twin turbo V6. It's just a beast, and I like the style because it's so quirky. It's boxy, and it's not like a Ferrari or a McLaren. And it's not that price, but it's still expensive. I think they're like $140 now. They used to be. I had a chance of buying one for about $65,000. I should have bought it. It's just a cool car. I love the GTR. Okay, so we're almost here. Road looks good. You know, I don't think it's an expensive bike, and I don't think it's expensive to own, I guess, as far as to buy. But you know, if you don't want to shell out $22,000, $23,000, I mean, this bike, if I didn't get a deal on it with the panniers, it would have been about $23,500, and I got it for a really good deal. But you know, if you don't want to shell out the money, they got great deals on the financing and stuff like that. You know, so I mean, I don't see the big deal of financing, especially if you can get something with 0% interest, and it's a no-brainer. And there's lots of deals out there. But you know, the guys say it's an expensive bike. It's an expensive bike, but I'm still loving it. And okay, this light's going to be a long one. And you know, I have not had any reliability issues. I mean, how cool is that? There's no reliability issues whatsoever. It's never let me down any place, and anywhere I've went, it's been totally reliable. And so I understand that some people have issues, and not every motorcycle from every manufacturer is going to be perfect. I mean, I didn't say this is not the perfect bike. I think it's the perfect bike for me. It may not be a perfect bike for somebody else, especially that I don't go off-road. It makes it even, you know, it's absolutely perfect. Oh, the smell of diesel. Oh, there it is. I knew I would make it eventually. This is the old-time hardware stores. I guess they're still surviving down here, which is good. Boy, this makes just good U-turns, this thing. Another thing, I don't know what it is. I'm sure they do the same thing. The Multistradas and the KTMs and the Africa Twins. But these things just turns. They have such a great turning radius. Super turning radius. I didn't mention the African Twin as far as the other bikes, even though like one gentleman loved the African Twin and hated this, but I don't really think it's in the same category as the GS. I'm sorry, guys. It's probably a little bit lighter, yes, but maybe the off-road could be better. I don't know, but I don't think it's the same category as on-road. This is, I think, is superior. But all right, we're gonna head into the hardware store, and maybe we'll talk about more shit on the way back home.